Good morning, Celebration Church. My name is Nathaniel.
And my name is Emerson, and this is Celebration News. Stop it!
I know this one. If you're a new guest and you go to Celebration, okay, never mind, maybe I don't know it. If you're a new guest here today, we're so excited you're here and we want to get to know you. All you gotta do is fill out a Connect card from the seat pocket in front of you and return it to the Connect table after service. We have a gift there waiting for you. Just go run and grab one. I'll time you. It's a 40-yard dash. This is for your NFL combine. Do you wanna go to the NFL? Oh, there's just one right there.
Hey, Celebration Church, don't forget, today is Crash Course, and next week we'll be having our second session. So our first Sunday, we are going to be talking about celebration and about you. So you will be meeting with Pastor Roger and Kim over lunch. We'll be talking about our mission, our vision, our culture, and you can ask any questions that you'd like to know about Celebration Church. We're also going to be talking about you. So we're going to be talking about your pain, your passion, your proficiency, and your personality. And so we'll send you home with just a little bit of homework, and then you'll come back the second Sunday, and you'll get to meet all of our team leads, find your place within our team structure, and then you're going to become a part of what we do, what we call changing the world. So now you're going to be involved with loving God through coming to a Sunday morning service. You're going to love people in groups, and then you're going to be a part of changing the world by coming through Crash Course, our onboarding to our teams. We can't wait to see you there.
As we enter the new year, we want to encourage you to consider taking your next step of faith as we enter the new year. And we are providing a lot of opportunities for you to do that, including these following things that are starting up in the new year. Starting with 21 days of prayer and fasting.
Baptisms are January 10th.
There's a Following Jesus class for all new believers.
Baby dedications are coming up on January 24th.
And the Story of God Intensive starting this February, and the easiest way to sign up is on our website.
Celebration Church is hosting a Night to Shine. This is such a neat way to serve people in our community. If you don't know what a Night to Shine is, it is an unforgettable prom night experience centered around God's love for special needs people. For the safety of all of our honored guests and volunteers, a Night to Shine 2021 will be celebrated with a drive-through celebration and a virtual experience. There are two ways that you can get involved. You can volunteer to help, or if you're an individual with special needs who happens to be 14 or older, we would like you to be our honored guest. A Night to Shine is February 12th. Sign up on our website if you want to be a guest or a volunteer. If you want to keep up with us and all of our updates, then I encourage you to sign up for our email newsletter on the website.
Let's continue to love God,
love people,
and change the world.
Well, good morning, Celebration Church. Listen, I'm so excited that you're with us. Last year, as we kicked off the year, the Lord gave us an incredibly prophetic series that we went into called Hallways, about how to navigate the transition seasons of life. And that was more prophetic than we realized going into the year of 2020. And this year, I really feel that we have a God-inspired series for you. For the next 5 weeks, we're going to talk about the 5 rhythms that you should live by in your life, the 5 God-given sacred rhythms we live by. It's with rhythms that we are able to embrace the good things that God has for us, and we're able to endure the negative things of life. It's when we live in rhythm. Because our God is a God who designed this world in rhythm. Everything's in rhythm. The earth revolves around the sun, and that's what gives us this rhythm of years. And the moon revolves around the earth, and that's what gives us the rhythm of months. And we got the sun or the earth I don't know what all they are. The earth rotating, and it gives us these rhythms of natural days and creates rhythms internally of sleep, of night and day, of sleeping and being awake, and activity and lack of activity. In fact, our bodies are designed in rhythm. Like our heart beats at a specific rhythm. It's constantly going in rhythm. In fact, you can tell if your body is not doing well based on the rhythm of your heart. Your lungs breathing in and out. It is all based on the rhythms of life that God places in us. In fact, everything, the galaxies pulse in rhythm. The ultraviolet radiation works in rhythm. In fact, God has even placed rhythm into a woman's body. Every month, their body is in a rhythm that displays the glory of God and His very nature. It's this rhythm that I want to talk about today. These 5 sacred rhythms that God gives to us to bring our lives into alignment, whether life is doing well or whether life is doing poorly. Today, I want to talk to you about what is called the rhythm of life. The rhythm of life. Because the truth is, a rhythmless life is draining. The rhythm of life is a simple rhythm that we discover in John chapter 15. Verses 1 to 14, Jesus talks about this, but I want to drill in on verses 4 through 5. It says this, abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine and you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Jesus says that your life consists of this rhythm of being fruitful and abiding. Your life consists in a rhythm of producing and not producing, of being fruitful and abiding, of rest and work, of moving forward. It's this idea of rest and work and play, this idea of, he says that your life is designed to work in this rhythm of expanding and contracting. Like when we work out, we expand and then we contract the muscles. This is what creates life. The first thing in understanding this basic rhythm of life is, in order to embrace the rhythm of life, we must embrace extremes. What I mean is this. We're taught and we seek for balance in our lives. We want to balance our days. We want to balance our checkbooks. We want to balance everything. And so we're always trying to balance stuff. The truth is, life is not designed to be in balance. Life is designed to be in rhythm. So like with a drum, it's the extremes that make the drum work. It's the extreme retraction and then the extreme expansion. That's what creates a drum beat. It's not when I sit on the drum and just try to find balance in the drum, but it's embracing the idea that if I want to make a correct beat, I've got to have extremes in my life. It's these extremes that make up life's beauty. And it's these extremes that if we embrace them, we'll find our lives will be more fruitful. We all want this balanced life, right? We want balance. We want the perfect balanced golf swing. But can you imagine a golfer standing at the tee box with the perfectly balanced stance, but unwilling to embrace extremes? Unwilling to embrace loading up the back leg and then loading frontwards as they swing forward, followed by a follow-through. It's the extremes that produce the fruitfulness in our life. It's not the balance. In fact, balance is a myth. Balance isn't even a real thing. We like to think that we multitask, that we can do multiple things at once. My wife always tells me that she's a great multitasker. No, science says you're not a great multitasker. In fact, what our human brains are doing is toggling between on and off. We're toggling between different activities that we're constantly working for. So this idea of multitasking, it's neurologically impossible for us to multitask. We're constantly trying to go through our world, accomplishing more and more things all at once, balancing them, and then we wonder why we're overwhelmed and stressed out. It's like having everything on the front burner, equally important, equally present, and our lives are overwhelmed. Jesus teaches us to embrace the extremes of abiding or resting in Him and fruitfulness. That in going between these two things, we find strength. Jesus himself, one of the most productive people the world has ever known. I mean, our time stamp is based on his life. Governments have been built on his teachings. More quippy statements than Confucius ever thought of having. And Jesus is somebody who lives in this rhythm of extreme. People actually got frustrated with it. They felt like he wasn't doing things the way that they would like him to do it. But Jesus is a man of extremes. Extreme fruitfulness, extreme resting. We see this in the book of Mark, just in chapters 1 through 6. We see in chapter 2, verse 13, he's alone at the lake before he begins to teach. In chapter 3, verse 7, he withdraws with his disciples. In chapter 3, verse 13, he withdraws with his mountains, into the mountains with his disciples. And in chapter 4, verse 35, he leaves the crowd in a boat. Jesus' whole ministry is marked by him. When he builds a crowd, he leaves the crowd. And he kind of goes around this triangle in the northern half of the Sea of Galilee. He just constantly withdrawing. And so he leaves the crowd in a boat. In chapter 5, verse 1, he goes onto a hillside to be alone. In chapter 5, verse 21, he crosses the lake again. Why? To be alone. In chapter 6, verse 45 to 46, Jesus dismisses his disciples. He tells them to go on ahead of him, or he tells them to go on a mountain and pray. And as they're on the mountain and pray, he says, then tells them to go on ahead. Let me rephrase that. I said that wrong. In chapter 6, verse 45, Jesus tells his disciples he's going to go on a mountain to pray and for them to go across the lake to be alone. So they go across the lake. And then we find Jesus walking on the water. Like, why is Jesus not with them in the first place? Why isn't he with them? He's not with them because he's resting. Jesus is withdrawing, and the disciples are freaking out because of the storm. But it's this natural rhythm. It's an extreme with Jesus. Healings, miracles, powers, and wonder, followed by getting away, not being around anyone, just being alone. It's this extreme. Embracing rhythms in life means we embrace the extremes in life. And so what that means is that in order for me to have a productive life here in 2021, I need to embrace the rhythms. I need to learn that when I'm at home at the dinner table, it's not time to check my emails. It's not time to respond to people at work. It's time to embrace an extreme, turn off my phone, and be present with family. It's also time to learn that when I'm at work, I'm going to be intently focused on what I'm doing. And when it's time to play, I'm going to turn off the distractions and just play. Extremes is how we find rhythm. The rhythm of work, the rhythm of rest, the rhythm of play are all God-given positive rhythms that he wants in our life. In embracing rhythms, we've got to schedule our values. What is most important to you? It has to go on a calendar. And in fact, God tells us what's important to him. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, he says this. He says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Did you know that it's God's hope for your life? It's God's plan for your life. That your life would be fruitful and that it would multiply. That it wouldn't just stay where it is, but that it would grow, that it would have fruit, that it would have something to show for itself. And he continues this in this same passage we're reading in John chapter 15. In verse 2, Jesus says it like this: "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit." The goal of our lives should be to bear fruit. Bearing fruit is proof that our lives are the lives of true disciples of Jesus Christ. Every branch that doesn't bear fruit is useless to the Lord. And the problem is most Christians we're totally content being a branch. We're totally content being an individual, being a branch with our own identity, that we're amazing. But we cringe, and it's not just Christians, it's our American culture. We cringe at the idea that God would demand fruit from us. And the truth is, that's exactly what he wants. He wants our fruit. So nothing will throw the sacred rhythms out of balance in your life like spending all your time and all your resources on things that don't matter. to have the sacred rhythms, we've got to be intentional. We've got to plan. We've got to move forward. We've got to plan for fruitfulness in our lives. So what are the big pieces of fruit that we want in our lives? I know for me, it's really simple. I want to have a full and light heart in my life. I want to have a family that's functional and growing. And I want to have a life that multiplies with fruitfulness. It sounds really simple, but the truth is, like, the only way to get to these things is through a rhythm in our life. Scheduling rest and scheduling communion time with God is part of this thing. Jesus says it like this: apart from me, you can do nothing. So what Jesus is teaching in this passage in John chapter 15 is the idea that there is this goal of fruitfulness in our life, but the only way to reach the fruitfulness is to withdraw into the presence of God. He says it like this. He says, if you abide in me, you will bear much fruit. Now this is a tape measure, but I'm going to pretend for a moment that it's a pendulum. And the way a pendulum works is, if I withdraw the pendulum back, it will swing forward every time into the goal. This is how those big destruction balls work in the big cities where they knock down buildings. Boom, you pull it back and it swings forward. Jesus says, if you abide in me, you'll bear much fruit. Abide in me, bear fruit. Our American mindset says, if I push really hard towards fruitfulness in my life, I will get more fruit in my life. And Jesus says that's not true. If you abide, you'll bear fruit. I know some of the most busy, most aggressive, most productive people, like they're going for it. People like most talented, the smartest, people with like everything in their, like they've got it made, and yet there's no fruit. And the reason there's no fruit is they're pushing hard rather than abiding in Jesus. That's what he tells us to do. So really, in our lives, the bigger your goal, the bigger the fruitfulness that God has placed for your life, the farther into abiding in him we must go. Somebody with great dreams and great ambitions in the Lord will abide hard and swing far. But somebody who just abides small, boom, it's fine. It's going to be small. And that's okay. If you want your life to be marked by chip shots, that's great. But if you are swinging for the fences, if you've got big dreams and big plans for your family, for your finances, for the things of God in your life, you have to learn not to chase those things, but to chase abiding in God. Because he says, if you abide in me, you will bear much fruit. You will bear much fruit. So I guess it's this idea that we've got to be willing to expand and contract. You think about somebody punching, right? They're going to punch. It's pulling back that gives the energy for the punch. But we want to work 16 hours a day, and we want to try to start 2 or 3 businesses at a time, and we want to try to manage our family and our finances and our kids, and we want to look like we're living the Christian life, but we're never withdrawing. And so we're walking around life trying to win a fight like this. You're not doing anything like that. No. Withdraw. Expand into what God has called you to do. Withdraw. Expand into what God has called you to do. This is the rhythm of life. So what does it look like for us to expand and withdraw into this next season? Well, it looks really simple. As a church, I want to invite you to, for the next 21 days, I want to invite you to withdraw with me. I want to invite you into a season of pulling back, not a season of productiveness, not a season of going for the mountaintop. We're going to take the world by storm, a season of withdrawal. What I want to see is for us to do this. I want a church fast, 21 days of prayer and fasting that we've always done. But it's going to begin January 4th, and it's going to go to January 24th. For you, that may look like fasting. What is fasting? Fasting is withdrawing from the world. It's surrendering things of the world that you enjoy. Could be media, it could be an activity, could be relationships. A very biblical way to fast is food, is to remove food from your life for a season. There's just something spiritual that happens when we do that. Somebody might say, well, I don't know if I can do it because of my health concerns. And if you have genuine health concerns, I would consult a doctor first. But I'll also let you know that most medical situations are actually improved by fasting. An American can do well to go without food. But I want to encourage you for the next 21 days, withdraw from food and dig into prayer and fasting. We're going to have times of prayer right here at the church, and I want to invite you out for that. A time of withdrawal. And the next thing is this. I want you to engage in the Word of God. The way we read the Bible around here is we use what's called the Moravian text. It's a reading plan that has been around for centuries, and we all read it together. You can get the Moravian text online. It'll be in the description of this video. You can get them emailed directly to you, or you can download the app and it'll come to you. We've also got like 150 copies of this year's text that will be available on Sunday. But I want you to, for the next 21 days, don't try to be productive. In the next 21 days, withdraw and seek the face of God. And I promise you that when you abide in Him, you will bear much fruit.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I gotta say, if you just gave your life to Christ or you're ready to take more steps in that direction, I'd encourage you to go to the link in the description under Following Jesus. Now, we'd like to do this benediction with you, so say this with me. It's a blessing. Here we go. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. God bless. We're looking forward to seeing you next week right here. Have a blessed Sunday.